To start off his second 37-point performance, Jamal Murray attacks the mismatch, D'Angelo Russell. But that was a bad recovery on that screen by D'Lo, so peep this. Instead of trying to recover over the top of the screen and try to gamble on that inside, your goal as a defender is try to get back in front. And D'Lo tried to gamble to get the steal. Murray gets back to space as Jokic makes a roll, gets an easy midi to start off that 37 piece. And now the Lakers doing what the Lakers do worst, which is playing transition defense, and they just let players get a rhythm so easy because they just do not want to communicate. So tell me, is there any communication between D'Lo or AD right here on this left side? They just blindly run back on defense, and then they just go and run back on the other side with no problems on the fact that nobody communicated. So why are they losing so many games, this transition defense? And now remember what I said about that pick and roll, right? Your goal should be able to get back in front. And Murray recognized that, put his hand up, because he knows he messed up. So peep this. He goes to recover to D'Lo, but he leaves that pocket open between him and Jokic because he decided to stay on his hip instead of trying to circle back and get in front. If he tried to get back in front, he'll be able to close up that pocket, and now Jokic doesn't have to worry about playing two. And it's essentially like you're getting back playing 5-on-5. Now Russell hits that pocket pass, AD gets that little floater. He knew he messed up right there too, took responsibility for it. And now boom, another bucket on D'Lo. See, the thing is, D'Lo has never been a great defender, but usually his offense is his defense, to where he's scoring so much that he's making other players work. So now that he's on offense, he doesn't have to do so much on defense because he's somewhat contributing at least on one side of the ball. But now he's not scoring on offense, and he's only getting scored on. So at this point, he's just a liability. But it might just be too late now. It's 3-0. And now as a guard, right? If you ever want to reject a screen, there's two things you got to pay attention to. The player defending the screener, and then after that, your player that's guarding you. So peep this right here. If you see the player playing the screener is already committed to one side, this should now tell you to go to the next level of read, which is the player that's guarding you. And are they leading you to that screen and to the player that's on the side that's already committed? If they're not, set your way up and then go reject it, like Jamal Murray does right here. Because Jared Vanderbilt doesn't lead him to that side that AD is on. And so now that since he goes left, AD is not able to get back to that side quick enough and be able to really commit to him. And on top of that, Jokic has his own gravity. Jamal Murray gets that little float. And now Schroeder on Jamal Murray, right? The thing is, Schroeder can play on the ball defense, one-on-one defense solid, but the second you put him into actions, it's going to be tough because you cannot switch. And with Jokic as a screener, there's just no way you can switch that. Going back to this pump fake, though. But now this pump fake. Peep this. The thing with the pump fake is something you can't really teach. It's just something you feel. The more you hoop, it's like a sixth sense you get. Or you just be able to pick up on the habits of your defender. Then you just know that when they get in bad positions, you just hit them with a little pump fake, they fly by, you get to your little buckets. And now Jamal Murray on the post-up. He's scoring from all levels. 3, mid-range, in the paint. And I feel like playing in the post has got a bad stigma to it. Because a lot of people think to play in the post, you got to be a big player. But you don't. You just got to have a combination of skill and size if you want to be able to play in the post. So now here with Jamal Murray. He just has a little size advantage on Dennis Schroeder. And he has a skill to be able to shoot over both shoulders, be able to fade away in the mid-range. So now he could get Schroeder into the post and play from the post. So that's something you as a guard even could add to your game. And now boom. The way you could add this to your game, though, is by putting in so much work, building confidence, building trust, that you allow yourself to be able to play the game without thought. Because moves like this happen off of instinct, happen off of feel. So if you build that trust within yourself to now make decisions without having to think through it, because basketball's so quick, you'll be able to make moves like this. And then after you make the move, after you get that bucket, you're like, how the hell did I do that? That's the self 2 within you, that unconscious self, making these moves and making these decisions for you. But that only happens if you put the work in. Now Rui's on the floor, right? This should be a switch. Rui has his hands in the air looking at AD because AD did not go on the switch. AD was not fully aware of who was on the floor at this point in time. And so now there's another miscommunication, and now they get a 3. But there's different ways at which you can handle miscommunications. You can either do what Rui did on that other side and throw his hands up in the air, right, and not really say anything, or he could do what Denver did right here between KCP and Bruce Brown, where they missed that rotation on that zone. They talk about it, they fix it, and now the next time they go back into that zone, they patch that up. So now you're improving each time you go down. Lakers, they just be in their hand, they be standing there with the palms in the air, doing nothing. So no wonder why they just play so inconsistently. And that nice lob by Braun, right? But this is really ridiculous. Literally right down the floor. You don't even pick up on Jamal Murray. It seems like they've just been disrespecting this shot way too much this series. Going underneath screens, not picking up on him, closer to the half-court line, respecting him as a shooter. They just letting this man go off, bro. And now he's got the mismatch with AD. Little mismatch, some would say. And Murray would say that's definitely a mismatch. But when you do have these mismatches, the way a player guards you and the amount of gap they give you, how tight they play you, will tell you a lot about which moves you need to make. So right here by Jamal Murray, right? AD's playing with a little gap, which shows you that he's kind of playing to the drive, and he's going to give him a late hand. But what Murray does is that he changes pace and gives a quick little bring back move to get back into space to sell the drive and to get more space for a shot. And so now AD bites on that just a little bit as he sold the move that would take him downhill, but now he gets into space. Gets that right over the top. Easy bucket for Jamal Murray. Now kind of easy backdoor, but it's the timing of that which is so important. Murray's just walking from half court, then boom, he goes and makes his cut. If he tries to go a little too early, it's going to alert Dennis Schroeder, giving him more time to recover, and that's going to also alert Reeves, giving him more time to see this backdoor going on and him to be able to step over and help. But if he gets himself into range before going to make that cut, that stops Schroeder from being alerted too quick, and stops Reeves from being alerted too quick, and now he's able to go and straight get that layup as soon as he gets it. So do not make your moves until you're in a spot that you are actually a threat. Then Murray, transition, tough bucket, complaining for the foul. I ain't gonna lie, that was a foul. That was a foul. And then Braun hit Scott Foster. He's complaining for another foul. But guess what's going on the other side too? More complaining. I ain't gonna lie. Given these texts that we may see as soft, a lot of complaining be going on. And realize refs are humans too. If all these players are constantly bickering at you and saying who knows what to these refs throughout the course of a game, of course you're gonna give them a tech every now and then. And it may seem small to us, but the amount that they be complaining within the game is absurd, bro. It's crazy. They still complaining. Still complaining, man. And on this weak side, that's a great screen by AG. Get KCP open. And the amount of shots KCP was hitting, I was like, that's not the KCP that played for the Lakers back in 2020. Two different KCPs. But if you're Vando right here, right, there's a way in which you could be able to play this screen and play this corner, which is not getting stuck on the inside of Aaron Gordon and getting underneath to his bottom shoulder that's closer to the baseline. If you do that, you could have a hand right there to be able to stop the pass from going through, and you'd also be able to go out to KCP in this corner. But now he gets stuck on the inside, no closeout, easy three for KCP. And now second half came around, 30 points in the first half. But if you get hot, you're bound to cool down. But the thing about that is that even if you cool down, you'll still maintain your gravity. Even though he cooled down the second half, his gravity is still there so much that you cause Anthony Davis to step up on this screen and leave Jokic open on this roll. And now Lakers were climbing back into this game so much, but then it's this inconsistency. You tie the game, you let easy buckets happen, transition buckets happen. Throw a turnover. Now once again, D'Lo stinking up the place. Turnover, cross court. Now guess what? Another one. Throw, lob, another assist. And the reason why the Lakers are going to lose this series, most likely, and why the Celtics also are in a bad position over there in the East playing the Heat, is because they're so inconsistent. They're so talented, but yet so inconsistent, which is why the Heat and the Nuggets are, at this point, most likely to be able to make the finals, because their consistency in their play style. And then Schroeder again with another flop, with his hands in the air. Is this flop charge worth it with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter? And no, it's not. You just let Jamal Murray get an open three, gambling for the fact that you hope to get this foul. That's not worth it, bro. He's done this way too much. He's done it way too much, and I'm pretty sure the league should crack down on it anytime soon. And when the Lakers starting to get these in and outs, I was like, yeah, it's GG's. It's GG's. They made some comebacks late in the games before in the series, but not now. The ball's not on their side. But now that's a great screen by Jamal Murray. Peep this. So Jokic as a ball handler, Murray as a screener, right? Screens on AD, Schroeder hedges, and now Murray is going to leave to the corner. And that causes AD to stay with him until Schroeder does go and get back to Jamal Murray. Because now Murray would get loose if AD didn't stay right there. So now this leaves Jokic a ton more space to be able to let off a three. No contest, knock it down. Now once again, another pick and roll action with Jokic as a ball handler, Murray as a screener. And that's crazy because today's league, we're seeing bigs as a ball handler and guards as a screener. It just shows you where his basketball has come to, and it's continuously evolving. And that's the end of this video. Make sure you subscribe, like, turn on notifications. Make sure you hit the link in the description. Go follow so you can catch the live streams and catch 4 times as much of these breakdowns live. And we out of here.